welcome back to Emotional Mojo. You know, she has one of those names and faces you instantly recognize. That's because Academy Award nominee Mariel Hemingway's face has been seen in more than 30 movies and countless television appearances. And of course, everyone recognizes her last name as being the same as the famous author Ernest Hemingway. But you probably didn't know her sad and scary family history.
Father was the oldest son of Ernest Hemingway.
Cheers!
It was kind of like the Kennedy family. The Kennedys had these horrible tragedies, and we were sort of the other American family that had this horrible curse.
My grandfather, Ernest, is one of the greatest writers of the 20th century, and yet he suffered tremendous mental illness. I come from 7 suicides, perhaps more.
Powerful words, and she and her family's journey through mental illness has been so raw and devastating. Some Hollywood heavyweights like Miss Oprah Winfrey helped turn it into a documentary titled Running from Crazy, which is a film festival darling. And we are so honored to have Mariel Hemingway joining us today on the show to give us some insight. Welcome, Mariel.
Hi.
Thank you so much. There's so much to talk about, and we want to start kind of close to the beginning here, 4 months before you were born. Tell us the story of Ernest, your grandfather.
Well, being as it was 4 months before I was born, I didn't actually know him, which I'm bummed about, actually. He actually killed himself 4 months before I was born in July of 1961. I was born in November. And is it July or June? Anyway, so, you know, that is one of the 7 suicides that are in my family. And I have survived that through living a healthy life by making different choices, by doing things that have supported me. But my journey's been pretty interesting just because I've tried everything. I've eaten every way. I've done lots of different things in my life to try to temper my own depression and suicidal thoughts in the past, and feel that I've come out kind of triumphant. And this film is really just so that people feel like they're not alone. I just want people to know that, you know, if it takes somebody like me to tell my story, my family's story, that they have permission to tell their story, talk about it, talk about mental illness, talk about depression, talk about suicide, because that's a way to bring awareness and also help start this program of prevention.
Mariel, this is Tara, and we know that your older sister Margot also killed herself, and so you have this family history of this, and I applaud you for bringing attention to this, because of course it's such a private matter within your family, but yet you've had the courage to bring it out in public, and that you've just taken a completely different path and have such a great outlook on life. And so, you know, what else in your family history, or how did you do that? Like, how did you break free from this sort of curse in your family?
Well, I wish I could say it was a really super fast journey, but it's been a very long journey. And I think that the film is sort of a culmination of many different paths of you know, health and wellness, and trying to be actually trying to be perfect and do things in a certain kind of way. I've come to a place with my partner, Bobby Williams, where living life well and making healthy and sustainable choices in my life has been a huge proponent of my mental well-being. I did something called brain state technology, which probably is one of the key things, because it balances the brain hemispheres through sound and gets rid of trauma to the brain, mental, physical, and emotional. That was probably one of the main components that got rid of my depression. But also, I believe lifestyle and how you live your everyday life is a key as well. So that has been an ongoing journey. And I jokingly, you know, sometimes I talk to groups and I talk about all the different things, the different ways that I've eaten, the different ways that I've exercised, the gurus I've followed, the chanting I've done, which has all been wonderful, and I've learned a great deal about it. But what I really learned is that the teacher, the guide, the therapist, the guru lies within me. And that's been a huge realization, and probably something that I really owe my partner, Bobby Williams, a great tribute to, because he has been kind of a rock that sort of said, hey, you know, you can do this on your own. You're fine. You're perfect the way that you are. And that's a message that I want to tell, you know, give people. Even though you may have problems, there's always a solution. And that solution lies within knowing yourself better.
So, Mariel, and you mentioned your partner, Bobby Williams, and we know he's there with you now, too, so we'd love to welcome him in. And Bobby, you know, you make an appearance in the documentary as well, you know, so what's it like dealing with this family history and tragedy from your perspective? How do you feel?
Well, you know, when it's your family and that's what you know, it's not like I was ever Mariel Jones, and I didn't grow up without these problems. So I've always been dealing with them. So it's not a big surprise for me to have to deal with the pain of my family, because that's the family that I grew up with, and that's what I've dealt with my whole life. So it's not new to me. It is what it is. And there's Bobby.
There he is. Is he coming?
There he is, lurking in the background.
Aww.
Anyway, so, as I said, it's just not a big surprise for me to have to deal with the issues of depression and all that stuff, because that's sort of the hand I was dealt, and I'm glad that I was, because I think that this journey that I'm on and bringing awareness to the subject is really one of the things that I'm meant to do. So that's awesome.
Mariel, hi, this is Jada. I just have a quick question for you. Oprah helped EP the documentary, which will hit the big screen later this fall, and and she has devoted her premiere episode of Super Soul Sunday this week to your story. Talk about your involvement and how she has helped you.
Well, it was amazing. I mean, Bobby and I both went out to Maui, which is where she has a very beautiful estate, and we did the show. And I have to say, I kind of had to pull to the side and give Bobby and Oprah just space to hang out, because they were having such a good time.
That's fun.
Live life. They were kind of amazing together. It was a little scary.
Who's all watching this, and what am I allowed to say?
Well, you are on television, so I would keep it PG if I were you. I want to ask you guys, because we touched on this a little bit. You believe in natural healing, and you talk about that in the book, Running with Nature. And I know you guys have some steps, too, to discovering a more fulfilling life of simplicity, you call it. And we have a couple of the steps. Can we talk about some of them? Like one you say is to watch a sunrise instead of sleeping in. I mean, what do these steps mean?
Well, I was just going to add the Super Soul Sunday. Oprah was slapping me 5, and she was crying with Mariel, and at the end, she was swearing and had her hands over her head. It was pretty incredible. We're hoping that they left that part in. And as far
as cable, so maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe they'll leave out the F part with her hands over her head yelling. We were looking at each other like, wow, Oprah's gone on. It was fun. The interview was a blast. And then as far as steps, I mean, Mariel and I say that we have 6 of the greatest doctors in the world, whether it be Eastern or Western philosophy. They're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And they're Dr. Sun, air, water, nutrition, exercise, and rest. You see these guys every day. You don't have to go to a doctor, because your body is self-healing, self-sufficient, and self-sustaining.
Well, thank you so much for the tips. I hate to cut you guys off, but we are out of time. So thank you so much for joining us. And again, you guys, the name of the book is Running with Nature, and the documentary is Running from Crazy. And don't forget to watch them on Super Soul Sunday, this Sunday with Oprah on the OWN Network.